And just like that, he was live. He's live. Hello. Hello out there. You know, it's really important not to think about this too hard. Because if you think about it too hard, you suddenly realise you're sat in a shed talking to a bloody lens, acting like the whole world is watching or something. But then that's kind of what you have to do. That's the only way it works. You have to get your mind around the idea that this is important and this is vital, and that the world will fall apart if this doesn't happen. You know, that needs to be baked in. Otherwise, you know, what's the point? What's the point? I'm just burning electricity. That's all I'm doing. Right, so just checking in. Am I in focus? Can you hear me okay? It is magic. Yeah, thanks, Bill. Just let me know that you can hear me all right. I'm just checking that everything's okay, because I don't know where I am half the time. I think part of the allure of this show is its haphazard, amateurish vibe. See, I can't even think of the words. And my beer's too far away. That's a problem. There we go. Have I got rubbishy old cardboard boxes in the shot? I didn't mean to do that. Ooh, look. Maybe have a look at that in a bit. And I'll take this out of the box because I haven't done yet. So I just haven't gotten around to it. It's one of those getting around to it things. Sound and vision fine. Thank you, Ken. You're always dependable, mate. Do you remember this? It's the DF Audio Mini Bay. What the heck do I do with that? Anyway, your man who made this, I thought he was in Australia, but he's actually in Thailand, which is obviously, or was it Taiwan? One of those two anyway, which is obviously much closer. So he sent one over in the post to me. I think it's a passive patch bay. I've just got to go and read my own article about it to remind myself. But I think the idea is, I mean, patch bays always confuse me. I don't know about you, but looking at this thing go, so I've got one down here, a Behringer one from years ago. You plug things into it and go, where does it come out? What's the point of plugging in here again? Why don't I just plug a long cable into the thing I'm trying to plug into? You know, that kind of thing. Because I'm not one for permanently set up studios. That's kind of not my bag. Everything is constantly evolving and changing. So having something permanently wired is just not in my realm of experience. Yes, I have no idea. I have no idea what to do with that. I have to think about it a little bit. I have to think about it. We'll put that to one side for the moment. But I very much appreciate it making its way to me. No, it'll just fill my brain, and I don't have much room in my brain this evening. But we'll certainly look at the Polivoc filter. I know Bo's got one. Bo's got one far more beautifully than me. By that I mean he's much more beautiful. But I also have one, which is exciting, which is on my long list of things to do. So I'm going to need more cables. You know, I have plenty of cables. Yeah, I even bought extra cables because I'm going to do a video on cables. It's one of those videos which is on my shelf as a as soon as I've run out of things to do type videos. That's the sort of thing I'll do. It's a studio thing. Oh, right, yeah, all weird this then. I don't quite know about that. So how are we doing? Wonky Robot, hello, good to see you here. Ken, always a pleasure. Jam Burrito Style, New York, New York. You're very welcome. I've been to New York twice. It's a funky place. Apparently I carried pizza wrong. There you go. And I accidentally hugged a Batman, which was going to cost me a fortune. I was lucky I didn't have any money on me. That's been my New York experience. Michael, hi. Hey. Jason, good to see you. British steel. Yes, blue steel, I think. Probably. Mr. Grumpy, good to see you. You're not grumpy, of course. I just say everybody's names wrong. The Village Green sound system is in the house. It's lovely. Yeah, it is just us. All 46 of us, according to this thing here. But who knows? Who knows who's watching out in Twitch land or Twitter land or Facebook land? Because I am multi-platform, multi-streaming all the time. 24 hours a day. No, not really 24 hours a day. So, yeah, so here we are. And Tone Laxis, good to see you, Andrew. Andrew. I think I've got two Andrews in here tonight, which is nice. Good to see you. Good. No, maybe just the one. Who knows? Anyway, hi, Steve and Steve. All good. Los Angeles. I've been there too. I went there for, numerous NAMs, of course. I've only ever been there for NAMs, I think. I remember I went to a NAM, which was at the LA Convention Center rather than Anaheim. Back in the day, there were a few years that they did that. And we stayed in this hotel on Hollywood Boulevard. Now, Hollywood Boulevard is a nightmare. It's a dive. It's like a war zone down there. Out of my hotel bedroom window, which I would attempt to smoke through, I could see the Chinese theatre, which I thought was desperately exciting. But then you actually got down to the floor, particularly at night. It was just crazy. It was like some back alley, and this was Hollywood Boulevard. At least I think it was. I don't know, I might be wrong. You know, it's got all the stars on the thing. We went to some restaurant where we left my boss behind because he fell asleep at the table. That's how interesting we are. And then we hightailed it out of there and left him. But it wasn't my fault. I was there with the owner of Turnkey, Johnny Arbiter. I was there with Rupert, the manager, and Nigel, head of guitars, and me. I still don't quite work out why I was there. This was been 98, 99, something like that. I think I was there to look at software, but I wasn't the confident, knowledgeable person that I am now, and mostly I was boggled by the whole experience and spent most of the time just smoking in corners and looking out for free beers, which were plentiful, I have to say, at NAMM. Anyway, why am I talking about that? Vaughan, oh, it's good to see you on Facebook, man. It must be lonely out there somewhere. I only mean that because no one ever looks at it on Facebook, but it's very exciting that you're there and I'm here and that we're both here sharing this moment of streaming extraordinariness. So that's good. I don't know, NAMM's not all it's cracked up to be, you know. I mean, it's a good place if if as an industry show, it's good. I don't know how much of a show it is for the public. You've kind of got to work it. And when you're working it, then it makes some kind of sense. I think as a public show, it's a bit more difficult. Well, but then why? I don't know. I don't think it's quite like it was. I think we need a different sort of show. I think perhaps something in Norwich. Maybe we'll talk about that in a bit. Anyway. What was I saying? Anyway, I got distracted by Los Angeles. Yeah, well, that's very exciting. You're very welcome to be here. It must be like in the morning or something. You love how Brits say Los Angeles. Yeah, probably. Yeah, you too, Vaughan. How's it going? I keep seeing you. You keep getting blown apart in videos and stuff. It's very exciting to see your transformations from synth pop artist into war veteran into spy. I don't know. It must be awful exciting doing those videos because they're fantastic. So keep doing them, man. They're just the best thing. See, it's Synthfest. Yeah, I'll be there. Yeah. So, well, should we talk about that first, Synthfest then? Because that's coming up next weekend. It's very exciting. Hands up, who's going? Oh, somebody came in and said they like Studio 1.6. That's the way you do it. Oh no, not another interview. That's scary. Well, you're welcome to. Just stop me in the street and I'll happily talk about anything. So yeah, Synthfest. There's a lot of interesting things there. Actually, I was having a look through the manufacturer list, exhibitors list, and things that took my eye. Synth Freak is going to be there, which is exciting. Is it just going to be the hardware, or is Anila, trying to get the name right, is she going to be there too? That would be very exciting. I'd like to talk to her about what she's doing with that whole Putney into Buckler thing. It is pretty awesome. all the usual people are going to be there. I'm trying to think if there's anything that really else that stood out. There are a few names I didn't know, which is always worth looking into. Are we having a molten beer up? It's difficult to say, Andrew, because... All right, well, let me tell you what my itinerary is for the day, and then we can work out whether there's any use in doing anything around that. Because I'm bringing a couple of kids. I'm bringing Alfie and Arthur, my 15-year-old and my 12-year-old. Alfie's been a few times with me. He's been to Berlin with me, to Super Booth, actually, in the past. But now Arthur's of an age where he's allowed to come too. And he's actually the more musical one. He can bash stuff out on a piano like nobody's business. So I'm bringing those two along because that should be fun for them, I think. But it also means I'm not really staying around in terms of partying or socialising after the event. So we're coming up Friday night, but we're not leaving Norfolk until about 5-6 o'clock. So we're not going to get to Sheffield until 10, something like that. And we're staying at the Premier Inn, I think it is, and just there to sleep and have breakfast. Big breakfast. Kids eat free when you order a big breakfast, so I made sure I did that. So what I'm trying to say is that I'll be there late Friday night, so I won't be out partying Friday night, sadly. I mean, I could sneak out for a quick one. I can't guarantee I'll be home. Can't guarantee I'll get there before closing time. And then obviously be there all day Saturday, but for lunch I'm already taken. Sound on Sound take me out for lunch, which is nice. They take out David, my editor at Sound on Sound, takes out his bunch of writers, which is always nice. So I'll be out for lunch, and then when it's finished I'll probably be leaving because I need to get home that night. So that does put a little bit of a squash on having a beer and that kind of thing. So I don't really know what to do about that. Obviously I'm completely happy to talk to people and run into people, shake hands and stuff when we get in there. I shy away a little bit from having some kind of an event because I would just feel a bit stupid. But in order to counteract that feeling of stupidness, I'm going to put on an entire event in Norwich next year, just so that I can make it all about me. And then I won't feel so stupid. Does that make sense? An mid-afternoon pint? Maybe. Got to drive home, man. I've got an A1 and everything. You got yourself an E4, Ian? Oh, nice. Great stuff. Oh, can't wait to hear that. That's exciting. It was annoyingly good, the E4. I didn't want to like it. And then... I had this funny experience because I've reviewed it for... Who have I reviewed it for? Gear News, that's right. All three of the things. So Synth Fest, just diverting now over to the Roland area compacts. And I was had them on my desk set up. And it seemed to be like everything was running through the E4. So I had them sort of wired in, chained to each other into the line in. But everything seemed to be going into the E4, and I couldn't work it out. So I was getting the drums and the chord synth all going through it. I couldn't work it out. And what had happened was that what happened is that I hadn't plugged it in fully, and so there was something going on the output of the E4, because you can plug in like phone headphones that have a mic built in, so one of that TRS type jacks. And so it will take a mic in directly in through the output, oddly. So you've stuck in your headphones with your mic input and it takes that. So I'd somehow got it half plugged in. So I was kind of getting an input out of the output. So the output was routing back into the input. Does that make sense? I don't know that it does. Anyway, I couldn't work out. I thought it would be a nice idea if you could actually do it for real, but you can only do it by accident. So that's a shame. That's something that they could do. Something that they could add to it, I think. Yeah, they are. They're a bit nifty. They have no right to be. I mean, personally, I would have preferred the E4 to be more of a mixer / effects model for the whole lot. I mean, sure, have the vocal thing in there too, but it's it's kind of like the other two could feed into it, and you could have you could have reverb and delay and other effects, and the scatter type effects it's got on the big knob. All of that could actually be used quite well on the all three. A feedback loop, something like that, yeah, rather than just on the vocal stuff. But, it was fun nonetheless. So what are we talking about? Yeah, Synthfest. So, yeah, lots of interesting things. What does anybody think about the seminars? Has anyone got any thoughts on those in particular? Is anyone going to go to any of the seminars? Because obviously I'm not doing a seminar this year, which of course is terrible. Didn't I do a intro to Eurorack last time, and then I also did what's his face? That's good. Come on, where's my brain? I can see his face. The guy from 808 State. Anyway, I did a bit of that as well. So was that last time? Has it been that long? Was there one last year? I can't even think. Oh, I don't know. Anyway. Well, yeah, okay. So I'll take a break in my brain for the moment just to pour a beer. Give me something to start with. I don't think they are streamed, no. No, I don't think they are. Or at least they haven't been. But they are recorded. I mean, you can go and see my one from whenever that was. What are our seminars on? Well, that's a good question. Yeah, so tell me, Oxpin, tell me about Sarah Davachi. Davachi? Guy called Gerald. Thank you, Another Culture. Good Lord, I'm losing my mind. Because there's, I mean, the ones that, I mean, I think they've updated it. Oh, yeah, that's right. because for a long time on the Synthfest site, it was just Paul Whiffin's talk about, I mean, the only thing he ever talks about, which is his time with Vangelis writing the Blade Runner soundtrack. That and his laser harp, which is fantastic. So there's that. There's something about the original EMU sampler. Yeah, it is. Neck oil. Yeah, that's my default one these days, Andrew. And then, yeah, so what's Sarah Davachi about? Let's see if I can actually pull this up. That might be interesting. Synth Fest. Seminars. Yeah, so Synth Guru, Paul Whiffin, sorry. I have my own reasons for chuckling at that a little bit. 50 years of the EMU modular. I don't know anything about the EMU modular. I mean, it's possible that that's fascinating. I really don't know. I really don't know anything about it. Composer and sound artist. Cool, yeah. Okay. So there we go. Oh, it's Sarah Anglis, it says. Sarah Anglis? Yeah, Davici. So Oxpin, you might have this backwards. Anyway, it says on here, Sarah Anglis, Sound World, demonstrates how she combines Max, Ableton, Theremin, robotics, and acoustic instruments to make her own unique audio world type thing. Discussion of techniques. A recipient of the Ivor Novello Award in 2021. Very, very cool. Yeah, horror score for Amulet. Composer, performer, sound designer. Yeah, it looks cool. So that might be interesting. That's 3 to 4 in the afternoon. And then we've got Electronic Music Open Mic Showcase. Electronic Music Open Mic, EMOM. Which is founder and organiser Martin Christie, who discusses the philosophy and approach behind it. That's great, because we do that in Norwich, right? In fact, there's one this Thursday that I'm feeling less and less able to get to just because of too much stuff. Too much stuff. Don't know. But I like to get to them when I can. I mean, realistically, I get to one every 4 months, maybe. But it's really great that Sound on Sound and Synthfest are highlighting that, because it's awesome. It's one of the best things. It's just to get together and play, to have the opportunity to perform is fantastic. And actually, Synthfest doesn't have a whole lot of performance stuff going on, so that's a really good thing to have. I mean, having said that, there is another stage, sort of a demo stage somewhere else in the building, but that's mostly being taken care of by Tom from Source Distribution, who's doing everything that Source do. So that's like Arturia and Moog and the Malevolent, that sort of thing. They do all that sort of gear. So perfect for gear demoing. So yeah, there's some all right seminars. Is one of the stuff the Edu Wave Shaper. I don't know. Oh, me, one of the stuff. I haven't seen that yet. In fact, I don't even know where mine is. I got a terrible feeling it's fallen away somewhere, because I've got them all under here, and all I've got left is the second noise sample and hold, which I shouldn't have. So I might have to buy the wave folder when it comes out, if we're talking about that. But Erica Synth should be there, which is cool. Hopefully I'll get a chance to have a go on the Perkins, whatever it is. Right behind you, Perkins. That's Porkins. Oh dear, I don't know what I'm talking about. Yeah, the Misha, that's right. He's doing the Misha. They also do Eventide. Yeah, I saw that the video was out, but I don't think Erica Synths have posted it yet. So if they haven't posted it, then Thonk won't have it. Hi, Digifex. So then people can't buy it, so there's no point me doing it. Do you see what I'm saying? Like, yeah, they've still got the output mixer as the thing. Hi, Endless Disco Machine. Yeah, the Bjork books, Kim Bjorn. He's done a Roland specific book, which is cool. So yeah, he'll be there certainly. So that'll be good. Did you bump into me at Synthfest? Well, you're welcome to bump into me again. I'm good at bumping. That's cool. Yeah, Technomadic. Yes, I was just talking about how I will be there. Yes, I will definitely most be there. Happy to wave at people. I have a new shirt prepared and everything, so that's quite exciting. That's quite exciting. Cool. So where did we get to? Nowhere at all. I was going to see if there's anything else at exhibitors wise that was catching my eye at Synthfest. Adroit Synthesis. I've not come across them before. Neither have I seen Alex Shabo Haslam. Got AJH and Alan, who are awesome every time. Analog Solutions, of course, are bound to be there with the Colossus. ARP is being represented, I think, by Robbie. Isn't he doing... Robbie Pacelli, isn't he doing the ARP stuff? I think he is. Arturia, Hydrasynth, or Doos, don't know them. Yeah, I'm very interested in the Ondes Martineau oscillator. That does look beautifully interesting. Yeah. Hi, Boston, from Arthur. I mean, Boston in Arthur. I got that right, I'm sure. Blick and Synths is there, so you can buy stuff. Booklet's going to be there. Does that mean Mark's coming over? Is Mark Doty coming over? Is he? Well, that'll be awesome. That'll be worth staying around for. CPU Records, don't know there. Create Audio, cool. Dexaver Dreadbox, Enjoy Electronics, they're the people who have just done the Godfather sort of processor unit. Eventide. Emu Clone thing. Expert Sleepers, I think there's a new firmware for disting, I think I said the other day, which is very exciting. Of course, I get very excited about that all the time. Therafish and Focusrite, Genelec, Hacken Audio, Icon, IK Molded Media, Imaginando. Now, Imaginando, are they the people who do the visual stuff? Have I got that right? Kenton, God bless them, still knocking around. Nice one, Andrew. Nobula, good to see them there. Korg, Kurzweil, Loki, they're the stand people. Magella Audio, Mellotron Medium, Cases, Moog, Moon, Motas, Movuku. Who's Movuku? My Volts, Nord, Northern Light, Nova Distribution, Novation, Oberheim. Will we actually get a chance to play on the new Oberheim OBX, I wonder? Don't know. Rhodes as well. We get to play on the piano. Now, if there's anything like Super Booth, they're all kind of out of the way, and you didn't feel like you really should sit down and play one. Rick Modular is going to be there. RYK Modular, which is great. I've got the thing here that this week, this is what I'm playing with this week, is the Vector Wave that you can't see me fiddling with over here, but I can see it. But yeah, I'm going to give that some moving and some grooving this week. Some learning is the plan. Sequential, Scan, God bless them. Sound Freak, Sound Gas, Soundtronic, Studio Electronics, Studio Fabrication, Studio Logic, Sweet Discreet. There's some stuff here I've not really heard, so that's going to be interesting. Teenage Engineering, more wonky stuff. Yamaha, Yorkshire Sound Women Network, fantastic. Pittsburgh Modular does have a drum machine coming, says Bill. Not sure if it released from them or via Create Audio. Well, it's a good question. Drum machine. Interesting. I mean, that makes sense because of all those percussion modules that they've been farting around with for the Safari series. So that does make sense that that is going to make its way into some kind of machine one way or another. Yeah. So I can see your logic there. Oh, it's the wrong time of the last decade, Andrew, to get a matriarch, I think. But hey, you know, if the price works for you, go for it. Two people from America. It's usually Mark Doty. I mean, he did NobCon, and he also came over for Super Booth, but sadly he arrived with COVID and was promptly quarantined. Which is just awful. I mean, he went all the way over to Germany to spend the entire week in a hotel. Just sucks. Absolutely sucks. Oh, see, look, somebody asked the question if I think Create Audio will have one in the works. And then somebody else said yes. Oh, that's good. Doubtful, Doty. You think, Jason? So Technomatic, the Colossus wasn't enough. That's funny. How can that be the case? The Colossus is not enough. It has to be a mega Colossus. That's just nuts, isn't it? Huh? It's just nuts, I say. It's nuts. Yeah, Imaginando. Yeah, I'm pretty sure I have their visualizer plugin, and it's one of those things that I really, really, really want to have a go on, but can't find the time. Because, I mean, often when I'm doing live performance, I tend to incorporate visuals into that. I haven't done for a while, but in previous projects, when I'm doing a particular project in a particular thing, I tend to run visuals as well as the music. And so I've been looking for numerous things which can provide a kind of LinkedIn backdrop to Modular. I mean, I got the Critter and Qatari thing, which has been a massive disappointment in that I just don't like it. Maybe there's a way into it that I haven't quite discovered, but it is not anything like I thought it would be, which is such a shame. So I think the Imaginando thing looks really has a lot of potential, but again, I just have not given it enough time to really think about it. What do I think of the new drum log? I haven't had one. They haven't sent one to me. I am on Korg's list of cool people, and they've sent me Volcas that I've done stuff on, and they sent me the SQ64 and the Wave State. So, you know, I've done some Korgy stuff, but they didn't send me a drum log. So I don't know. I can't review something I don't have, I guess, and I'm unlikely to purchase one at this time. I've got nowhere to put it. So not at the moment, but anything is possible. I've heard both good and bad things about it, funny enough. Some people think it's the drum machine to have, and other people have gone, oh, it's really weak on the analog side and it should all be digital or whatever. So, you know, it's splitting opinion, I suppose you could say. Hi, Auto Hot. Moment there, I thought you were going to be a bit of a bot, but no, that's fine. Oh, it's another block of 12 oscillators, filters, and envelopes. Ah, yeah, 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 yeah. So does that mean you can do? You got two bass lines going on at once? That's awesome. Hi, from Eugene. Is that Eugene, Alabama? I want to say. Would that be right? Because everywhere in America, you know, from a movie, and someone from Eugene, Alabama, could be something else. Don't know. Yeah, I mean, I used to do things on iPad apps and stuff as well, which is quite good. I did this one gig, so I used to run peculiar church services. You could call it alternative worship, I suppose, a few years ago. And I did one in this massive empty church, and I superimposed two projectors over the top of each other. One was using video loops on an iPad, and the other one was throwing up the words to songs and stuff that we were doing. And that was awesome. That worked really well, and it was really just random stuff from this iPad app, which was good. And I had someone fiddling around with that as I was, what was I doing? Saving the sinners at the front. Beer today is neck oil. It's going down a bit too quick. That I'd be underwhelmed. It's tricky. I mean, it continues to be a question. I noticed that Bo Beats recently released a video about YouTube, making money on YouTube, and he had comments about what it's like to review stuff, because people seem to get to be weird about it often. I think I've kind of learnt to ignore certain comments, certain the way people phrase questions and stuff. I just kind of ignore it now, as opposed to get upset about it, because I don't think we need to be continuously and constantly explaining ourselves. Well, I mean, maybe we do. Maybe that's the point. I don't know. And does it matter? Does it matter if certain people think you're selling out or biased or something? Does that really matter? I don't know. We are what we are, I think, and you have to decide to trust someone or not. I mean, otherwise, what are you doing? You're just sitting around the internet not trusting people. I mean, what's the purpose of that? I don't know. Why did I say that? Oh yeah, because reviewing the drum log. I mean, I've recently just had to submit a review to Sound on Sound on a particular piece of gear that I did not like very much, and it's hard actually, because there's all sorts of things in play. I can talk about money in a minute if you like. Auto hot, yeah. There's all sorts of things in play, I think, when you're reviewing something. It's not simple. It would be easy if it was simple. It would be so easy if I could absolutely emotionlessly address a piece of gear. But then this is music, man. This is making music. This is creativity. How can you approach anything emotionlessly without emotion? How can you do that? I don't think you can. I think you have to work on what your juices are telling you. You have to work and review something based upon the bubbling up that it does to you, and for the most part, any new piece of gear that you're exploring is going to trigger certain tripwires within you that go, oh look, I'm creating, I'm having fun, I'm enjoying this. This is something is happening here, and so inevitably you're going to find good, I think, in every piece of gear. I think not to is you're not trying hard enough. Actually, that was something that Bo said, in that often if he's feeling negative about a product, it's because he hasn't put the work in. And that's a very true thing to say. That reviewing a product well or properly does require work. So with this thing that, as I say, I don't like very much, I've had it for about 3 months, and I keep, every time my editor asks about it, I sort of drop it in, like, say, you don't really want that reviewed, it's not really, I don't know how important it is to have that one done. And he sort of let it go, and now it's like, you really need to get that one done. So I sat down with it last week or the week before, and I mean, it took me all week because I had to understand it, because I couldn't just sit there and go, this is rubbish. I don't like it, just makes me unhappy. That's not good enough. That's me not learning how the workflow works. So I just had to sit there until I could do it, and then go, you see, okay. So now that I understand, I have to press here, and tickle it here in order to add a note. I got it now. Now I can do that, and I can do that again to add another note. Then I now understand the workflow, and I can work with it. And after a little bit, it's actually quite fluid. But it just takes a little bit of getting there. Yeah, Ben Jordan did get a lot of backlash from his honest review of the MPC key. Yes, he did. But that's for a lot of reasons, I think. A lot of different reasons. There's a lot of cultural reasons in that, and that's a kind of a shame. It gets murky for the wrong reasons, I think. But hey, we've got to give it a go. I found because I follow him on Twitter, so I see his response to these things sometimes, but I don't see the whole story. So it did seem for a bit there that he was getting a bit knocked at people, and I wasn't sure why. I didn't quite understand what it was that people were saying that was so bad, but it is interesting. So anyway, just to tie up my little story, to say that was it a story that you do have to put the work in sometimes. And with this particular device, I found some goodness in it, and I can see why some people would like it. But gee whiz, that front end is hard to penetrate, I would say. But you got to try to put your mind in this, try to put your head in the mindset of someone who this is their first piece of gear. They want to get into electronic music. They've bought this thing, and they go, right, and they're going to sit down and start making tunes with it. And you absolutely can do that. So who am I to say that this is rubbish? Because it's not rubbish. It's just that the designer of it, that my desire for particular workflows and ways of doing things doesn't mesh with the designer of this particular product. And for someone for whom it's their first product, they're never going to know any different. It's like my first synth was a DX100. I didn't know it was hard to program. I just thought that's how synthesizers were. And so I programmed it, manual, go through each parameter in turn and change things and listen and change things and listen, So FM, to me, end-fed synthesis in that regard has never been troublesome because I didn't know any different. I didn't know any better. And there's an element of that, and I think you've got to bring that to a review in saying, okay, I should compare it to other things because that's helpful to people who are reading my review. But also I've got to also bring a view as if this is the only piece of equipment I've ever used, So there's lots of things in play is all I'm saying. Lots of things in play. So there's always going to be an element where you're trying to find the joy in something. There's also absolutely, the fact that this is a good example, yeah. So the Polyvox filter in this, I love a bit of a Polyvox filter. So I'm quite excited to try this out. Now, this is not mine. This has not been given to me for free. I'm not being paid by Elton Music. I'm not being paid by Elton Music. But I like them, but they're not paying me. They haven't given this to me. This is for Sound on Sound magazine. So Sound on Sound has sourced this, sent it to me. I'm reviewing it. Sound on Sound are paying me. So there's absolutely no bias involved in my writing a review of this because there's no money, there's no product. This goes back. It's only on loan for the review, etc. And so that element of bias does not exist in my review of that. But there are plenty of other biases, plenty of others. You could mix in the idea that, it's a bit Russian. I don't like Russia at the moment. So there's that. There's I might meet these guys at a show and I don't want them to be upset with me. So there's that. There's the desire for something in my head to be good. So there's that. There's the There's a desire to write something interesting that people want to read, so there's that. There's a desire to be controversial in order to help people read the thing that I want to read, so there's that. You know, there's lots and lots and lots of different factors involved in this supposedly unbiased and and completely truthful, authentic review. So all you got to do is say, you know, do you like the way Luke Pop reviews stuff? And, you know, do you trust the guy? There you go. Excellent. Do you like the way I review stuff? Do you trust that I'm saying more or less what I think? And there you go. Is that good enough for you? Sure. You know, that should be. Otherwise, what are your options? You have to buy everything and then do your own personal review. But you can't do a review out for the internet because that would include bias, because you've now purchased something and you've therefore got an agenda attached to it. You know, so it's not possible to do a completely objective review, I don't think. Anyway, I talked about that. Plenty enough. Plenty enough. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, Sound on Sound fulfills its purpose, I think. I mean, one of those purposes is to describe a product. It's not just to say this was great and this was poor and you should buy it or not buy it. It's more of a, how does this work? I think that's the approach that most reviewers and Sound on Sound use. They're trying to work out, so how does this work? Let me try to explain how it works beyond the marketing. And so from that point of view, you're advertising a product, of course. You know, I don't think anyone's trying to pull any wool over anybody's eyes over what it is that everybody's doing. You know, ultimately, we are working within an industry that wants to sell product, and a magazine about that product is going to sell product. And that's an important part of the industry. Reviews exist to sell the product as much as anything else. You know, they are hopefully also a method of accountability to point out things that could be better, to point out things that could be improved, point out things that are not working. And that's helpful too, I think. So I think as a system, some people have a strange idea about what it's supposed to be, I think. What is it that you want to read? Do you want to read an explanation of a product, which is going to show you why it's good? Or not? I don't know. I don't understand the answer to that question. Anyway, so Autohot is telling me that Polyvox was from USSR in the 80s. Yeah. A big synth, that's right. Yeah. It was the Soviets' answer to the Minimoog. Yeah, absolutely. That's what it was. Cool. Yeah, reading it on trains. Yeah. Okay, good question. Thank you, Andrew. Mr. Ross, Deckard's voice. Is there anything else in Eurorack that sounds like it to my ears for less? Now, the thing about Deckard's voice is that it was a complete voice. So it's over here. Ugh, I've just taken it out because I've put the vector wave in. Deckard's voice. See, it's a complete voice. So you have an entire synthesizer in here, basically. And as far as Eurorack goes, that makes it quite individual. Not unique entirely, because I could put in, you know, the East Beast is probably, maybe that's the best way of looking at it. Something cheaper can create similar tones. You could look at something like the East Beast, or look at something like the Moog Mavis. There's even a little voice called the Product from Frequency Central. But is there anything specific about this that gives it its beauty? See, that's interesting. Probably it's a combination of the internal modulation. You've got this section here, which allows you to push up amounts to either the VCO, VCF, or the VCA. That you don't find that often on very many things, and you've got different waveforms that you can send to it. So that's particularly good and individual to the Descartes voice. The other thing is the way that the filter works. In that nobody knows how the filter works, and that also gives it its unique sound, because you have this. What do you have? Initial level and after level or something on the envelope, which is affecting the filter, and you're going, I know how to, no, I don't know how to use it. No, yes I do. No, I don't. So you're fiddling with that, not quite knowing what to do, and that generates this other sort of sound that you have coming up that's a little bit unexpected. Other thing is that you can mix in between just simple sine waves on this one and also the filtered version, so it has a mixing of waveforms in there, plus you've got pulse width modulation, self-modulating in there as well, and noise, you know, so there's a lot going on in this one voice. It's really hard to find something that comprehensive, I think. But basically you would be looking at another mini synth that can go into your rack, like a Mother 32, like the Moog Mavis, like the Dreadbox recent kit stuff, or the Create Audio stuff. Probably that, I should think. Probably that. But I mean, this is a heck of a thing. Although I mean, not every time. It's one of those weird things. It's like I was having a jam with Gaz, weirdly online, strangely. And I tried to bring the Descartes voice in, and it just was not sounding like anything. I can't quite work out what's going on. Sometimes it's can be a little. You get a bit lost in all these sliders, I think, and you know, it requires a little bit more thought. Moog Lee, thank you for that comment. Yeah, I mean, you have to. I mean, DivKid goes into enormous detail. He's extraordinary in the level of detail, and he gets everything. That's the thing. I don't always get it. But by that I mean I'm just trying to find my way into something, and hopefully I try to capture that on video if I can, in trying to work out, so how does this work, and then, you know, is that working for me, or is it just something that it does, you know, that sort of thing. So I try to work with it rather than just talk about it being awesome or not. I try to then do a thing. I don't know. So yeah, while I got this, most reviews on Amazon are, well, this thing is flipping excellent, but it took one day longer than it should have done, so I'm going to give it 1 star. That kind of thing. Ooh. So yeah, let's have a look at this thing. Ooh, it's much smaller than I imagined it would be. Yeah, there we go. Yeah, no, I thought it was bigger. I really did think it was bigger. Because I think these are great. I think this is a great idea. I think that having a number of different filters in different boxes, I think is brilliant on your desktop. Absolutely. There should be more of those sorts of things. Okay, knobs feel all right. But it's all made by in the Erica Synths factory, I think. God, I like the size of that. Glowy power light. Just got in and out. That's it. Any CV? Oh, a little bit of CV there. Which is doing what? Cut off. Okay. CV. Got a noise thing. Yeah, that should be nice. It's not going to be a massive review, I shouldn't think. It's like, I mean, Sound with Modular, you get about 500 words, which is hard. 500 words. Woof. I mean, considering I do an hour video on a single module, trying to get that down to 500 words is quite quite a challenge, I have to say. So I found, I mean, it's good. I mean, you know, the way I've done things at Sound has changed enormously over the years. And trying to do the small stuff, the small modular reviews, has sort of taught me or pushed me into just being more emotional about it. So rather than trying to go, because you know, in a review you're going to go, oh, all right, so the cutoff, right, that controls the edge of the tonal barrier that you're putting through, whether it's low pass or high pass, and the resonance then pushes and boosts that tumbling edge into something else. You know, you describe what it does and says, oh, look, it's got 6 knobs across the top, each one's doing an individual parameter like attack, decay, etc. You can't do that in 500 words. So you have to just go straight in with saying, oh wow, I mean, this really sort of baked my noodle in how poorly this bit was executed, while on the other hand this bit was extraordinary. You know, you have to just go straight in there with how it made you feel, and I like that. And I've tried to do that more in my larger reviews of stuff as well. I mean, I've got Studio 16 coming up. Got to do that. Oh, Studio 16 reviewing Doors is really hard. Because it's like, I mean, I remember the first version I reviewed for Sound, I think was version 3. And when you do your first Door review, you talk about every aspect because you've got no previous, you know, so you have to talk about the whole thing, how the whole thing works. And then when you do the next version, you think, well, should I ignore the things I talked about before, or do I assume that people are reading this as their first review of this program, in which case I need to talk about the basics as well, and then you get tied up in those. Do I just talk about the new stuff? I don't know. So, you know, these things are challenging, very, very challenging. It's more than I thought, 5 words. Yeah, it's a good review. Good review. What do I think of the Dreadbox Chromatic? The range, I think they're beautiful in their colours. I really appreciate the colouring of them, and they look great. I mean, you obviously need to have all of them. I mean, I've never had any Dreadbox modular. I looked at their white lines quite a bit. Just never quite found something that I really, really wanted, if you know what I mean. With the chromatic stuff, I think it was a nice idea because it's well priced. It was just that there wasn't a particular module that really spoke to me that I kind of needed to have. So, yeah, I mean, a decent, interesting. I mean, they don't seem to be basic stuff. They seem to be quite quirky stuff, you know, slightly odd even. And that can be a positive or a negative, really, depending on how you like it. I've not seen a lot of it about. I've seen it in people's racks, you know, in YouTubers' racks, but I've not seen it in use a whole lot, funnily enough. But then I don't watch other people's videos, so how would I know? Mika, thanks for that twice. That's great. That's great. I have a Nymphus. Oh, you know the Sonic State Wednesday thing? Well, there were some questions because they've started doing this answer questions thing. Am I making sense? I don't know. But one of the questions that was posed that I don't think we did answer on the week that I was there, but it was one of the possible questions, was whether there's a workflow that's worse than the Synthfest. It's like, really? You found that difficult? Heck. Yeah, there's some workflows worse than the Synthfest. I think the Synthfest was fine. I really like it. It's up there on my shelf. No, it's not. Where's it gone? Oh. I've broken it. I'm eating it or something. Where's it? That's odd. Oh no, it's hiding behind the MIDI cake over there. Okay. But no, I really liked it. I think it's lovely. I wasn't bothered by the shift thing at all. I didn't. I mean, in my video of it, I did wire up a MIDI controller to it, and that's fine, but I didn't feel the need to. And in fact, in some of the ways, when you get lost by accident, you end up doing some incidental, different E kind of things, you know? So I'm mostly more creator of content than a watcher. Yeah, I try to watch whenever I can. Yeah, but I'm not. I don't have a whole lot of spare time, sadly. Yeah, I don't watch as much as I'd like. I mean, it's the same with listening to music. You know, I try to do that, and one of the things I try to do is to buy the music of people that I know, people who have put out music. I try to focus on that, so I'll pick up their bit of vinyl and listen to that a bit. Like I was listening to Hattie Cook this morning. Fantastic. I don't think I'd put it on. I think I've had it for like 3 or 4 weeks and had not got around to playing it, and played it. Was it this morning while I was ironing shirts? I think so. Really nice. Really, really nice. So that tends to be my vibe for that man. Oh, sure, yeah. I could be speaking about any comment. Oh, yeah, I should mention, actually, if you are on another platform like Facebook, Twitter, Twitch, that kind of thing, and wondering what on earth it is that I'm responding to, it's the chat on YouTube. That tends to be where most of the chat is and people hang out. So I'm not going to start reading out questions necessarily. Although sometimes I do that, funnily enough. Yeah. Shifting was addressed in the latest firmware to the better regarding the Synthfest. Oh, okay. I don't know if I've looked into that. Yeah, no, absolutely, Jason. It does. It sounds good. You just play it. It's a bit like. I mean, you know, I'm a sucker for I'm a sucker for a pad sound. I just want a pad sound. I remember playing Junos in shops years and years ago, and just going, wow, that's exactly what I want in a synthesizer. That sound is what I want, and that, funnily enough, is what the Roland J6 gives you. It gives you 30, I think, sounds, all of which are, that's the sound that's what a synthesizer sounds like, type sound. You know, that's what a paddy synthesizer sounds like, not a bass synth. That's a different thing. But as far as a chord, you want a chord. That's what you want. Synthfest is the same as that, particularly when you blend it with some kind of reverb or delay or something. And it's just, just superb. And you lean on that filter, that's all you want. That's all you want. Yeah, I can do that all week. What can we expect at Synthfest? Where have you been? I did a whole thing. I read out the entire list of exhibitors. So you can't ask me that. I've done that already. You have to rewind and watch that bit. But yeah, really fun times, I think, is the idea. And the opportunity, hopefully, to play on a couple of synths. Any veteran top tips? Are you saying I'm a veteran? Or I mean veteran of Synthfest? Bring snacks. Because you can get into the student cafeteria, I think, but it's very confusing. I didn't like that very much. There's a long queue for coffee. So I would suggest... bring some snacks. That's good. Maybe some reading material when you get bored. No, that would be my only tip, I think. Take it easy. There's plenty to see, and you're not necessarily going to see everything in detail. But don't be afraid to talk to people, would be my advice. I'm afraid to talk to people, and I always regret it afterwards. I should have talked to people more. Sometimes I go on a stand and I sort of look at things and poke around and then kind of shuffle off, when really I want to be shaking hands and talking to people. So I need to encourage myself to do that a bit more, because people are generally really nice. How am I getting on with the vector wave? I haven't got anywhere with it since we did the live stream where I plugged some things in, which was probably a couple of weeks ago, possibly more. So I haven't done anything, but I've just wired it into my main case here. In fact, I can. Hang on, but if I do that, how will I know? Oh yeah, look. Not this. This. I've just wired it in here. So I'm going to start using it this week, and then start writing up what I feel about it. So that I'll have, I'll have some kind of opinion formed before I see Jake. Is it? Yeah, at Synthfest. Yeah, so do I use a DAW to make your music? Yes, I do. Ultimately, depends what sort of music you mean. So I am I am sound on sounds expert on Studio One. So I have to know it a little bit, and I do know it. I feel I know it really well. I've written now about. I think I've been writing workshops on it for about 5 years. So you'd think I'd know it by now, whereas each workshop I write, it feels like I'm coming to it afresh. But anyway, so yeah, no, absolutely, I do use a DAW. But the two that I most commonly use are Studio One and Bitwig, because I just think Bitwig's awesome. I think it's fantastic. So usually, if I'm doing anything modular related, and I want to do a bit of cross modulation, then Bitwig is the one that I use, because Studio One doesn't really have that. One of the things that Studio One could do, I'd like to see them do, is to build in a bit more of a modular mindset, and that means sticking in modulation. Put modulation in the DAW like they do in traction waveform, so you can have. I would envisage you could have just a panel of LFOs, a panel of modulators, which you can use to route to any parameter within the DAW. That's what you should be doing. You should be able to do that. You should have a modulation page. And then that needs to translate into outputting CV, because Presonus, with their things like the Quantum, does have DC coupled audio interfaces. They could be making better use of that in a bit more of a Bitwig style. That's what I think. So yeah, I do make music in a DAW. If I'm actually making music for someone, I'm very unlikely going to be using this. I'm more likely going to be doing it with software, because it's recallable and savable and tweakable and all those sorts of things. But I will take, the modular has taught me so much about music and how music works, and I always bring that to everything that I do these days. So still, very much use a DAW. One of the things I thought I might do this evening was to get out the Descartes Dream and just check where I am with it. I was thinking about that, so don't think you might sneak it through, Steve. I was thinking about it, because I know from my birthday last year I did some work on it, and so that's going to happen again this year. That's going to be the least I can possibly do is do some on my birthday, which is in December. But I hope to do some more for that this week, though. Really got to do something on the vector wave. That's quite important this week, and I have another important video to make as well. Which, do I need to keep it secret? No, not really, because it's only us guys, isn't it? It's not really going to matter. I'll come back to that question in just a second. What's I saying? Oh yeah. So the other video I want to do this week, if I can, is one on power, one on electricity, because I think that's a bit of a thing at the minute. I want to work out how much this all costs. All this is costing me per hour or per second or something, because we have an opportunity. We have an opportunity to scale down the amount of electricity that we use, and potentially save the planet through this weird, mad money grab, capitalistic bollocks that's going on, that's screwing with all our energy prices. It could be the one thing that saves the planet, weirdly. And so I want to do a bit of a deep dive on how much power all of this sort of thing uses. And don't tell me, yeah, go on Modular Grid and it will tell you. No, I want to do it for real. I'm into doing things for real, man. Not getting some weird figures off something. No, how much for real is this? But it's not, because it's not just this. That's the thing. It's not just this. It's the lights. It's the cameras. It's this thing that I'm monitoring stuff on. It's my computer over there that's doing recording. It's the speakers. I was thinking about my speakers the other day. I bought my speakers, the Yamaha MS5s. I bought them 2001 from Turnkey. Like, what's that? 20 years ago. And I've never unplugged. I've never turned them off since. I think they've been plugged in for 20 years. Because they're always plugged into something around the back, and I can't reach the off switches, or I can't be bothered or something. So these are the sort of things I need to look at. How much money am I actually spending on all that kind of rigmarole? I don't know, and that's the problem. I do not know. So I want to look into that, and I think that'll make for an interesting video. I mean, I want to look into it myself, but I might as well share my findings. I think that's all, sharing information I think is important, because we get stuck with these abstracts of how much money you're spending, how much power you're using, how much you should use. There's lots of kilowatt hours being passed around from here, there, everywhere. But what does that relate to? What does a rack of synths look like in terms of how much power you're using? Those are the questions. And so I'm going to have a go at doing that. Yeah, solar panels, that's helpful. I have solar panels, and I'll tell you why that's been a complete and utter waste of... No, it's not been a waste of time at all. It's a fantastic thing, but I am nowhere near to using them in as the efficient way that I should be, And I'm so frustrated by industry professionals telling me what they think I should be doing when they don't seem to have a clue. They seem to miss it completely. Anyway. Yeah, no. Oh, it's a question. You see, there's all sorts of different ways of looking at it. Heat, light. Do we need it? Anyway, that's all just bang sticks together. Somebody asked me a question. Hang on, let me just go back to that. Yeah, no, Tanuki. It's funny. I was really down in the dumps about it, and then when I was working this up in my head, so I do, because I write a lot of my videos while I'm on my motorbike, going to do something, get something, or take somebody somewhere. Through my head, I'm working on something, and it just occurred to me that potentially the power thing is bloody brilliant. I mean, it's awful. Don't get me wrong, it is awful, but it could be, it has the potential to be something else that we can bend it to. Did you remember the chip in the wrong way around? No, I haven't remembered. In the Detgar stream, I'll check it through. Thank you for the reminder. I'll try to fit that in my head somewhere. Yeah, Bill, exactly. I want to do it sort of now. It's important to do it now. Yeah. Our power things all over the place. Auto hot. It's weird. It's weird. I don't know if anybody saw the Liz Truss interview this morning on the BBC, but she was convinced that she saved the world. She thinks she saved us. It's amazing. She saved us from these terrible, terrible energy bills. Like they had an idea. It's like, oh no, you know what we're going to do, right? We're gonna put some kind of cap in so they don't have to pay these massive energy bills. Yeah, you think? Yeah, we've all been calling for it. It's not as if you thought it up. We introduced this package. Yeah, because there would have been riots had you not. It's just funny. She kind of thought like they had a genuinely good idea. Oh, and yeah, we're going to do it for 2 years, Labour. And he said 6 months. Oh, yeah, they obviously don't care about you if they only thought 6 months. Right, yeah, right. Great. But it took you months of being told to do it. Anyway, don't let me go down that road. Not at the minute. Hi, Nick. How you doing? Yeah, well, I mean, running on a battery is one thing I'm going to look at, because I think, right, because I'll talk about my solar, obviously, because I have solar on the roof here, and an interesting thing that I just worked out the other night as I was looking at my metering. Hey, I can show you here. I mean, I'm letting all of my cats out of the bag that I was going to put in my video, but I'm going to do that anyway because there's only 3 of us here. After all, looking at this at once. What is this? Oh yeah, there it is. Is that yeah, I was looking at my metering. You see that I've got here? So that's not going to be helpful to you at all, is it? But the blue stuff, right, that's power being used. So this is cooking tea. That's me cooking the tea. That's the oven going on. That's me boiling the kettle. You can see that one there. The yellow is the solar. But I have this weird thing where I've got solar in a negative. I couldn't work that out. Could not work it out. See all these negative solars. The yellow is solar in negative. Yeah, I couldn't do it. But what I worked out, right, was that the way my solar is wired in is that it's actually wired in to the same power source as my shed. So the solar that I'm measuring over at the fuse box in the house is actually solar generated, take away the power that I'm using in the shed. So whenever the solar is positive, that means that's fine. The shed is just being powered by the solar, which is great. But when the solar goes negative, that's me using more power than the sun. Using more power than the sun. So that's fascinating, interesting. But it just highlights again to me that one of the difficulties we have in talking about power is that everybody's system is different. Everything is wired differently. You can't generalize about these things. That's why we still don't know what our bill's going to be, because it's all so variable. And so with me looking at my metering of my power usage and the solar generation, you have to take into account all these other things as well. And yours will be different, you know. Just turn it off, I mean, is the other thing. Well, Ken, it's a good question. The cost of the modules would depend on how much amperage they're drawing, depending on the patching at any moment. Would you say that plugging in a cable draws more power than not having a cable plugged into it? Is that what you're saying? Does that make sense? Because I mean, just pardon me. I mean, just because, for instance, I got my Touring machine flashing along here. Da-di-da-di-da, off it goes. It's generating those lights. It's going along. I've got the pulse light flashing. There's nothing plugged into it. But surely it's still generating. It's just the fact that there's nothing plugged into it doesn't mean it's not generating, does it? Isn't it still drawing the same amount in order to generate the stuff even though it's not plugged into anything? These are questions. Maybe those are questions I can answer. I think probably not, because I don't think I'm going to have that degree of granularity on my measurements. I could have. I mean, I don't want to bore people's pants off, you know, by getting out a multimeter and measuring things like that. I want to do it in a kind of a simple, understandable way, generalized sort of way. Anyway, did the analog synth room at Turnkey ever consume your workday lunch breaks back then? No, I wasn't interested. It's the weirdest thing, you know. I mean, I remember them in the repair department cutting up the Prophet 5 and cutting up the SH101, and I was thinking that's hilarious at the time. Because, I mean, at that time, turn of the millennium, no one cared about old synthesizers. Really didn't care. It was It was interesting that they were there, and that was a curiosity. But no, I was software all the way, man. Why would I want stupid old hardware? I mean, even then I still would have liked a Prophet 5. But heck, no. Standing charges, I haven't even given that a thought. The thing with putting a cardigan on, right, is not only do you look a bit suspect, but it doesn't help with your nose hurting because of the cold, or your fingers hurting because of the cold. You know, it's not my torso that's the problem. It's the It's the dripping off the end of my nose. It's my eyeballs hurting and freezing up. That's what worries me more. Steam's not the answer. Yeah, I'm not sure that not paying the bills is going to help either. What do my children do? What, for a living? Well, they go down the pits and I send them up the chimneys. Well, what else do you do with kids? I try to get them interested in synthesizers from time to time. I did a bit of soldering a few years ago with Alfie, which was lovely. I'd like to do some more of that. And I did at one point, you know, being a well-meaning parent, as most parents are at some point, you try to interest your kids in the things that interest you, I think, sometimes. Like I did do a few sessions where I took synthesizers over to the house and laid them out, gave them all headphones, and we had a bit of a jam. But they're only so interested, you know. And I think you try to do these things far too soon. So they're probably more interested these days. But I don't know that I have the time to invest in that at the minute. But that's one of the reasons I'm taking them to Synthfest, is because I think they might find that interesting. Because I mean, I've certainly found that trying to convince your kids that they should be interested in music is not something that really works. They have to find an interest, and it has to feel like it's theirs, I think. I don't think that you can kind of imprint that upon them. I think ultimately all you can do is give them the opportunity. Is you just need to feed them with as much opportunity as possible. So it's like since we had our extension built a few years ago, I had a piano in there. Got a piano in there. The piano was sort of buried in the corner of the house before, but now I've got the piano out. And both Alfie and Arthur have gravitated towards it, and Arthur mostly has played on it a lot, to the point that he's quite incredible for a kid who's only had a couple of lessons at school. And that's amazing. And that's by him. That's not me saying you should have piano lessons and you should do this. That's him completely off his own back, because he hears things and he likes to find out how they work. And that's what you want, I think. Why are we talking about this? I don't know. So trying to sort of convince my kids to be interested in synths, I don't know that that's a thing, but I do talk to them about it and I do show them stuff, and I would certainly like to get them into some soldering at some point. It's just that sort of difficulty where any kits that I've got, and I do have some, like for instance, oh yeah, that's the other thing. Let me get this out. I've got a few projects to solder, so I thought I would just have a look at this for a moment. I got the Apollo View rabbit hole and the Curiouser, I think it is. Now that's got this whacking great big tube sticking out the front, so I'm really into doing that. But what I don't want my kids to build it. I want to do it myself because I want to do it. So in order to get my kids involved in Curiouser, to get my kids involved in more soldering, I have to find kits that I don't actually want to build myself, and that's hard. Because I like doing it. Wow. Ooh. Yeah, so this is the rabbit hole. Oh, there they are separate. Oh, there's the front panel. This thing here. Oh, it's good on the back too. It's completely unlabeled on the back. I quite like that. So yeah, I'm looking forward to doing that again. It's just that finding the time. Is that going to fit in there? I messed that up. Come on, you're all right. Anyway, what were you saying? Oh, it probably doesn't matter. Let's have some more beer. What did my children do? Oh, yeah. I don't have a nerd seek, I'm afraid. Oh, unless you weren't talking to me. That's fine. You don't have to talk to me. Madcap asks if I think doing a video on power will make me want to downsize my synth collection. No, I don't think so, because I don't have them all on. Like, you know, mostly what I'm working with is a modular of this size, but then lights and speakers and computers and stuff. I don't usually have those on. In fact, I'm lucky if I can remember where the power supplies are. But it will be interesting to find out, excuse me, how much power they are using. So yeah, I'll definitely do all that. Because there's a computer to measure, there's this to measure, all that sort of stuff. I mean, I don't think it's going to be a massive amount. I honestly don't. You know, I know through looking at the metering I've got set up on my power that when it's a sunny day, you know, we've got loads and loads of solar coming in. Because I work during the day, then that works perfectly. This time of night, doing this, a completely wrong time to do everything. And this is the point at which I really, really needed a battery, which I do not have. But it'll be an interesting thing to look at. But downsizing, no, not necessarily. I mean, you kind of, at some point you have to make a decision as to how you treat energy, I guess. Is this taking us to a position where we need to go acoustic, we need to stop using energy, or should we be in a position where there should be enough cheap, clean energy for everyone to do everything they want to do? Isn't that really what we're after? Rather than going back to non-powered things. That's kind of how I feel about it. Yeah. Dreadful. It's all just terribly dreadful. Yeah, no, it is. Yeah, we're all paying in the end, Steve. This is true. That's true. Just complete delusion. Is my shed insulated? Yes and no. I've spent a lot on the ceiling. I've got these... got these wonderful white panels, yeah, which are both acoustically and thermally insulated. They're sort of a mesh of something painted with clay. It was something really hippie and groovy, right, that I got for it. And then between that and the actual roof is a thick thing of some kind of polystyrene type insulation. So that I've got going on in the ceiling, and that helped. I mean, the first year I was in here, you know, I had no extra anything, nothing on the floor even, and it was bad. And it's not been that bad. It's still bad though, because ultimately this is a single skin shed, you know, this thick or whatever, and I don't have any extra insulation on the sides. I have now double glazed the windows, as in I've screwed on great big sheets of perspex over the window, because they were just, you know, they might as well not have been there. So hopefully that will help a bit. But yeah, it gets cold in here, it does. And I do have an oil heater which I turn on, and it uses power, you know. It does. It does. Need to install good accums for solars. Okay. Accumulators? Is that what that means? Don't know. Yeah, there is no battery, Brian, so I'm just that means I'm using more power than there is. See, it gets complicated because what it's because the whole thing is flawed. Because it's never as simple as it appears to be. So yeah, the negative solar just means that I'm using more power than is being generated by my solar panels, And that's what that's reading. I'll work out how to explain it properly. Well, funnily enough, lots of people have got, well, the power readout. You have a voltage readout, I suppose, a power readout. I mean, but everything needs to have that. I mean, what we should, I mean, my feelings on it should be, is that, we're not designed, there's nothing in the way our electricity in our house works that's designed to save power. It's not. Everything is designed to really stay on. Otherwise, we would have systems in our house that you could turn the entire thing off. You could turn off, you can obviously go to the fuse box and turn it off, but it's not a clean way of doing things. All of our electrical equipment should be designed to power off completely, not go to sleep. Whoever thought sleep or standby was a good idea was an idiot. Everything needs to be able to be switched off, and you should have easily accessible switches in your house that can turn off all of the lights, all of the plug sockets, all of the kitchen, just like that. Obviously leaving the fridge on or whatever needs to be on. But that should be something that should be the norm, should be standard in order to reduce our energy usage. We need to screw those energy companies so much by our lack of energy use that they're going to be sorry that they ever put the price up. They're going to be selling themselves back to the government for nationalisation, just to get out of the game, because there's not going to be any money in it. What's I saying? And the other thing is that our system should be built with batteries that uses absolutely everything. Everything should be charging those batteries. Anything that generates any kind of power should be feeding back into a system that you can then use. So that includes, we should all be wearing still suits, Dune style still suits, which are capturing any of our electricity in our brain in any sort of movement. We should have pendulums which are on the roof, which then slowly unwind and then generate power. Your dog should be on a treadmill. All of this stuff, it's the future, man. Anyway, getting distracted. Did the 4MS Row Power Shield ever come out? I don't know. I've got a lot of Row Power modules. I don't know what that means. A nose cardigan. Yeah, I do know what it's like to be cold. Very much, Edna. Very much. I took Alfie he goes to Warhammer once a week in Norwich. Goes to the Games Workshop shop. Because oddly, his skill this year for his Silver Duke of Edinburgh is to paint a whole army of Warhammer. I mean, that's superb, and Warhammer's completely set up for it. They have like a big book thing he writes in and stuff. It's excellent. Anyway, so I took him to Norwich on the back of the bike last Thursday, and it was chilly. But I found in the cupboard, back of the cupboard, my thermals, my thermal tights were a bit holy, a bit moth-eaten. But I put those on under my. I got these ballistic jeans, which I've got, since getting the my Enfield bike, and it was snug. It was really nice. I felt like I'm going to wear those all the time. I might well wear those all the time. Just having those thermal inners under your jeans, fantastic, fantastic. Everything else got cold though, but my legs, they were sorted. Alive with 1,000 viewers? What? Don't know that I am. Am I going to keep my kids away from NI Complete 14? Well, I don't know. I mean, they're welcome to it if they want to spend the rest of their life going through presets. Rat Kit's just made the drum synth. Awesome kit and great synth. They're at Synth Fest. Who are they then? Rackets? I mean, okay, yeah, I get it. Rackets. Are these links on here? No. Kits. Noisy electronic kits, it says. They don't charge VAT. That's the first thing they say. Okay. The Atari Punk console. I've seen that before. Oh, it all goes a bit fast. The drum synth assembled passive multiple kit, 15 quid. Mixer kit, crackle box. Yeah, no, I think I have come across these guys before. Baby 8. My kids are all wearing my t-shirts at the minute, you know. I mean, because mostly, other than wearing glorious shirts as I do when I'm just at work, I wear like industry t-shirts. Like I've got a fabulous Akai S Series one. I've got sort of Korg ones, Arturia ones. You know, I'm I'm very very easy when it comes to industry t-shirts. Yes, please. My kids are wearing them all now. It gets frustrating. So what are my modular cases these days? Well, I've got my twin rack brutes sitting here pretty, which is nice. And I've got a lot of other bits. I've got like here, I've got a 60 HP Moog one. I've got a 128. Oh, over there, I've got another Moog one over there. I've got 5 other Moogs over there. You will not believe the amount of modular I have sitting around not doing anything. So I've got a nifty case. I've got all these cases from that case place. I got those cases from that time. I've got the Tolex covered one there. I've got the orange one up there. No, it's not a good question to ask me. Cool, yeah. Excuse me. It must be getting late. Yes, I do need to install a battery. Yes, very clever. Yes, I do. See, the problem with the batteries, right? Problem with anything. You talk to anybody about, you get, you know, because I had a guy come around. This has kind of prompted me to start looking into it a bit deeper. And everything just costs $7,000. I don't happen to have $7,000 knocking around, so I can't get a battery because it's going to cost me $7,000. I can't upgrade my solar; it's going to cost me $7,000. I can't use the thermodynamic thing on the hot water head of my air source because it will cost $7,000. You know, I don't have the money for the investment. When we bought the solar back 5 years ago, there were no batteries. Batteries did not exist for it. So, you know, we're using the thing the best we can. But I don't have $7,000 knocking around. You know, if I did, I'd flip and be buying an OBX, wouldn't I? Wouldn't I? I don't know. What is the multi-filter Soviet box, please? It was Polyvox. I told you. What do you mean? PF3 from Elton Music. PF3. What did I speak about last time? Let's talk music, please. Sorry, I've gone off topic and I'm not caught up. Okay. We'll leave the power behind then. When are we going to hear some more reel-to-reel recordings? When I've done some. I haven't done any more since the last one I did. Because I've been, you know, I had my head down focusing on all the work I have to do. So I haven't had the opportunity to make music in that fashion. But, you know, it's there. I can see it. It's right there. It's right there ready at any moment whenever I put a bit of a tune together. yeah, I mean, moving into the house would make some sense, to consolidate power and heating in there rather than over here. But I don't know. Again, it's the thing you have to work out. Is it cheaper to heat me in here a little bit than heat the whole house? You know, don't know. Don't know. Oh, I'm at the bottom. Right, good, okay. Oh, sorry, something in my eye. Duh. Right. Well, I got to the end of that. All right, so let's talk a little bit about Synth East then. So if you're not aware, I announced in, well, I've been talking about it a little bit on and off, but I announced in the Molten Monthly that we have a date and we have a venue for the first Synth East event, hosted by myself, Molten Modular, and also sponsored by Electronic Sound Magazine and the Norwich Art Centre. Norwich Art Centre being the venue that we're holding it at, and they've been super. They've been super about it, and we got together for a meeting a week or so ago, and I think it's just all going to happen. We're going to do it. It's very exciting. I mean, it's sort of, it's varied a lot in size and scope as to what it's going to be and how we're going to do it. So I'm in the process now of trying to work out what on earth it's going to be about and what we're going to fill it with. But it is on the 4th of March 2023, and the thought where we are at the moment is, I mean, nothing is exactly confirmed. We're still just trying to look at things. But will there be beer? Yes, it has a bar, Ken. It has a bar. There will be beer. Oh, you're in Ireland that week. I'm sorry to hear that, Andrew. Well, you know, I would have fitted it around you had you let me know, of course, obviously. You know, you've got to go for a date at some point. You've just got to go with it. So yes, the plan. So it's like it'll be like a Synth Fest. It'll be like a Modular Meets. It'll be those sorts of things. The things that seemed important to me personally is for it to be very much community driven, very much about getting together about this thing that we enjoy. And so that's sort of the Modular Meets side of it, I suppose. It's not just for modular, it's also for any kind of synthesizer. It's not just a modular show. So there's that side to it, and there's also a performance side to it, where I think is, you know, ultimately the making of music is what it is all about, and that has to be a large factor. So there's a sort of community factor, performance factor. Those are the two things. I mean, that's not groundbreaking in particular. But you know, there we have it. So the plan will be to during the day is to have manufacturers along, but also interesting people along to show some stuff. Who exactly that will be yet? Well, funnily enough, I mean, next week at Synthfest, I'm going to be wandering around and hopefully asking various manufacturers to come along. You know, I think I'll give them a bit of information, and hopefully there'll be enough that want to rent a table to come and show their stuff in order to essentially pay for the thing, because that's obviously a worry. This is the thing. Once we decided to move from the back room of a pub, which will probably be free, to moving to the Norwich Art Centre, which requires staff, then it becomes a different thing, and we have to think about it slightly differently. And so it's not going to be a free event like perhaps a Modular Meets would have been. It's having to be somewhere between that and Synthfest. It's not going to be as expensive as Synthfest. It will probably be a $5. You know, we need some way to, hopefully that will contribute towards raising the money to pay for the event. So there's going to be a bit of that, a bit of manufacturers sort of renting space, a bit of cost on coming in, a bit of a raffle I think we might have in order to cover our costs, I think. And now, live from Norwich. Have I booked maths? Maths with two T's? Maths? I don't quite know what that is. So I haven't, evidently. But, you know, I guess I've got from now until March to work out exactly what it all means. But the plan will be probably to have a thing during the day, sort of a Synth Fest thing style during the day, and then a small break so that we can break things down and turn the venue into a performance venue for the evening, where we'll have, hopefully, some choice performers, which will be exciting. I mean, what I can say, I mean, as I say, don't hold me to anything. But during the day, we do have a plan to do some interesting modular jams and performances, as well as the shuffling around talking about synthesizers. We'll try to also have some demos, maybe a panel, ask us anything type panel. And at the moment for the modular jam, we've got, thank you Steve, we've got Steve Davis, myself, because Steve has been a great supporter of this event. We've talked about it a lot. And if nothing else, it was him that inspired me really to try to make it happen. Because we've talked about it probably for a year, I think, particularly since I saw him play at an event at the Colchester Arts Centre down in Colchester, and it's a similar sort of venue. And I saw him play there, and I thought that was brilliant. And we're thinking, how can we do something like that in Norwich? And so yeah, he's been a great encouragement into getting us along the way, and now we're definitely doing a bit of a thing. So yeah, so I have a plan to do a bit of a jam with me, Steve, Gaz, he's hoping to be there, and also Sam, Look Mum No Computer's hoping to be there. So I've got 4 people at the moment, but I'm probably going to need more, because the plan, or the thing me and Steve have been talking about, is to have this kind of weird 8 people thing, 8 modular people, who then draw names out of a hat to have a kind of like a face-off jam together. People who have never jammed together before, they're just going to have a single row of modular. You see, I'm making this up as I go, really. Single row of modular. Matt's Bats. You mean Nick Bats? I don't know what you're talking about. So, single row of modular, and they just play together. They jam together and try to find a groove together. And then we take another 2 names out of a hat, and they do the same, and they do the same. And I think what we're just trying to do is create an interesting, quirky, unique listening experience. Rather than just hearing some one person perform. We'll do that later with people who really know what they're doing. But for during the day, I think it'll be interesting just to do something different and risky and creative and fun. And I think that'll be a lot of fun. Steve really enjoys playing with other people, and he's really good at it as well. Some of the rest of us don't get that opportunity quite so often, so that's going to be a bit of a challenge. So yeah, I'm hoping to get some more people involved in that. I don't know quite who yet. Hopefully I'll talk to a few people. Very, very interested in getting some women performers along. I don't know many women modular performers in the UK, funnily enough. I know plenty abroad, and I'll be reaching out to some of those, but it's a bit of an ask to get someone to fly over just for an afternoon. It's not as if it's Super Booth. So I don't know, but if anyone has any recommendations, then do let me know. Do not just in the comments here, but send me an email or a message or something. That would be appreciated. Or if you are a woman who's out there who's into modular performing and stuff, I can Panic Girl. Yeah, totally. Yeah, but like I say, she's not in the UK. If you are out there, do get in touch. I appreciate that not all people who perform with modular are all over YouTube and all over the community, because the community has not always been that open and welcoming to women. So I definitely appreciate that. But that's why we want to have women at the event to showcase your presence. Are you with me? Am I articulating myself correctly? I don't know that I am necessarily, but that would be great. Yeah, I mean, again, Cuckoo and Heimbach, they're both in other countries. but But there's generally a general invite to anyone to come. Absolutely, absolutely. So, but yes, I'm interested in ideas about that, of course. And we're just trying to work out how to fit it in the day, because it's not going to be like 8 hours of performances. We're going to scatter it through the day. If we go think about things that we might like to have, I mean, would a panel be a useful thing if after we did that, if we all sat down and answered questions? Is that helpful, or is that like too much of us? There might be a workshop. I understand that the Norwich Arts Centre knows a woman, funnily enough, who does little synthesizer workshops, and that would be great if that was a thing that could be done. So going to have a bit of that with a bit of luck. Otherwise, it'll be synths and gear to try out, people to talk to, some performances, hopefully a panel, some DIY, and then later in the evening some proper performances with people who know what they're doing. And with a bit of luck, that will include, I think in the evening, me and Steve having a bit of a one-on-one sort of jam. I think, again, unconfirmed at this time, but in my head, it seems like I feel I need to be part of the evening things just to sort of tie it together. Rachel Collier, yeah, I mean she's more synth and Ableton and sort of that sort of stuff rather than modular, but yeah. I mean she's great. Definitely, I've got all her records. But someone who's happy to jam with modular, see, that's the tricky thing. That's a little bit more stuff. Yeah, Jason would be great. Do you do modular, mate? Do you? But so yeah, we're sort of talking about things. So that's the plan. That's next March. So I've got a lot of work to do between here and then in putting things together and getting that right. It'll inevitably not be quite right. And also, what do I do on the day? Do I stand at the door, shake people's hands? I don't know. Do I get up on the mic and talk to people about things and introduce stuff? I don't know. Don't know, really. So that's interesting. I mean, obviously, if I'm bringing something, like I undoubtedly will, then maybe it'd be good to have that out on people so people can poke at it. But then if people are poking at it, it might break my patch, and I might need my patch for later. I don't know. Too many unknowns. But Norwich is a great town. It deserves a thing like this. I think it will be great because everything is always up in either Sheffield or down in London, and this is an opportunity to do something else. Didn't think there's anything going on in France. What? In March that I thought it would clash with, so I thought that was a good time. We did think about doing it in October, but heck, we're in October already. Am I familiar with Chris Carter? Do you mean Carter, the Unstoppable Sex Machine? No, I didn't know that they were based out this way. I mean, Fanny would be... is it that right? I don't know what I'm talking about now. Throbbing Gristle, is that what we're talking about? They would be awesome. Oh dear. Yeah, she did. She was excellent. I mean, that soundtrack is superb to that Delia film. Cozy Fanny Tutty, yes. Coventry Music Museum, they do Delia Derbyshire stuff. Yeah, okay. Nice idea. Which bit means drunk? Doesn't matter. What else was I thinking of? Thinking of the Stylophone Orchestra, actually. I think fancied asking them. So that could be exciting and funny and interesting. Lots of possibilities. I mean, obviously, Suzanne Chiani would be a good opportunity. Well, I mean, heck, if we could get Random Source over to do some Surge stuff, then anything is possible. Anything is possible. Yeah, so there you go. So that's Synthfest in a nutshell. I will obviously keep talking about it as we go and get stuff together. for that. It feels like it's a long way away, but I know it's going to be upon us shortly. There's no website. Sarah Bell Reid. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, there's Finlay Shakespeare as well. Future Sound Systems. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I know Finlay likes to do his own thing, likes to perform his own stuff. Whereas I'm kind of looking for someone who wants to do a weird, quirky collaboration. Or maybe more. I don't know. I mean, I don't know what I want. The difficulty is I don't want to... is saying yes to some things, and I want to say yes to everything, but then how do you then squeeze that into a single day of something, you know? Yeah. I mean, again, like I say, I know a lot of people in Europe and America, funny enough, who I'd ask. I mean, I'd get Travasi in to do a set. Should be awesome, absolutely, straight on that. But they're in bleeding America, America or Europe. But I don't know how far are people willing to travel to go to such a thing. Because in my head, it's still very much a back room of a pub, whereas it could be more than that. But we don't really have a budget for hospitality, particularly. So I don't know. I mean, I'm not a business person. I don't know how these things work. I don't know what people expect. That's the difficulty. You know, I mean, I was talking to Hannah Peel earlier in the year about doing a live stream, which she was up for, but she was just incredibly busy. But I mean, Hannah Peel is a proper name these days, and it's that weird thing, isn't it, where you don't want to take the piss by expecting someone to come and do something for free when actually they normally charge for stuff. At the same time, we don't want to assume that they're going to charge for stuff, because people also do stuff for free. You know, it's an event, so should I be saying, here's £1,000 and come and do a thing, or do you say, hey, do you fancy come and do a thing? So it'll be a laugh, and you're like, I'll buy you a sandwich or something. You know, it's really hard to know where to pitch these things. I mean that it is hard to know because I have no clue, because I've not done this sort of thing before. I don't actually know how it's supposed to work. I know that the Art Centre and Electronic Sound have a much better idea how these things are supposed to work, and certainly for the evening section, that will be dealt with appropriately and properly, and people will be invited properly and stuff. So it's during the day. It kind of comes down to how daring I think I should be, or could allow myself to be. You know, but I don't want to upset someone by inviting someone and then not giving them sufficient compensation for that, you know. But then if I'm suddenly paying somebody to do something, would artists don't play for free? No, exactly. But what does that mean in this context? You know, me and Steve are playing for free. We're not charging anybody. And Gaz and Sam as well, they're just sort of coming over to have a bit of a laugh. So this is the thing. When it's not someone who you would regard as a mate because you don't know them, is it wrong to say, hey, come over and do a thing, as opposed to, hey, here's £500? It raises all sorts of questions, because I'm not suggesting they do it for exposure. I'm suggesting they do it for a lark. Do you see what I mean? As opposed to employing someone to come and have a laugh. Do I know what I'm talking about? No. I know, I'm just spitballing. No, as soon as you need to contact an agency, then it all goes a bit wrong, I think. That means they're probably already too high. It's not publicity play. You see, that's the thing. That's not what I'm saying, man. That's not what I'm saying. I'm trying to remember now, did I get paid by Sound on Sound to do that Seminar. I think I did. It wouldn't have mattered. I would have done it anyway. I still don't know who this maths person is. I'm sorry. Oh, I see. Right. Oh, known artists don't pay for free. Yeah. But again, it just depends, doesn't it? I mean, if I was... I don't know. I don't know how it works. It's funny. It just messes with your head. Yeah. So anyway, so it will be interesting to see how it develops. I mean, at the moment, I've left Electronic Sound and Norwich Art Centre to contact some artistes to have in the evening section. $500 booking is standard low fee. Okay, fair enough. Trip to the fine city for low tier. Make that sound so disparaging. Okay, I think we're at cross purposes, mate. Plus all expenses. Well, okay. You know, I mean, you're evidently in the US talking about something else. Yeah, yeah. No, that's not really what's happening. This is not that sort of event. Yeah. So no, we don't have the budget for high tier people in that case. Thanks very much. Thanks for playing and all that. So yeah, it's going to be interesting to see how it goes. No, Bono just turns up anyway. He always does. He always does. Yeah, we can't afford $500 anymore. Okay, thanks. So yeah, lots of questions, lots of unanswered things, but hopefully Synthfest will give me an opportunity to talk to lots of manufacturers to see how much interest there would be in coming to a thing in Norwich, and that's going to be a good start, because ultimately exhibitors coming is going to sort of pay for the event and make the event interesting for people to come to. That's ultimately it, plus some interesting people in the evening, but we're going to have the two things as the same but separate event. So at the moment, so you'll be able to buy a ticket for the day, or buy a ticket for the evening, or buy a bundle ticket for the both. Excuse me. And there'll be a couple of an hour or something in between the two in order to do the changeover, where we all go and get a curry somewhere. I think that's the plan. And where Norwich Art Centre is on St Benedict Street, it's packed full of restaurants up that road. It's really nice. And I'll pay for everyone, of course. See, the thing with that above the trees is that when your friends are also artists, what happens then? That's the king thing, you see. Are we thinking about streaming it live? Yes, hoping to. There's various technological things which are possibilities. But hopefully, I mean, I'm imagining that I can hook into the video system at the Norwich Art Centre and just plug it into a laptop and have it streaming. Again, it just depends on the complexity and whether we'd have that running all the time, or whether we would turn it on and off, in which case it needs someone to turn it on and off. Would we have separate live streams of things that happen, or would we just leave it on for the whole day? Don't know. These are all good questions. I know inevitably I'm going to be running around like an idiot on the day itself, I suspect. Well, anyway, interesting. So we've done this for a couple of hours now. It's probably long enough, I should think. I could try to make a tune to finish off, if you like. I mean, I've just wiring this together, so it's not patched into anything. But I could do a quick patch for fun. Don't have anything else to turn on at the moment. If you fancy. Yeah, anyone who's interested would be there. Yeah, it's more of a keepsake sense, I suppose, Ian. I suppose. Should we get special merch done? I shouldn't think so, Ken. I don't think it would be her kind of thing. I don't know, but I shouldn't think so. So what have I got on it? Well, I'd say I've got the vector thing in here, but I don't know how to use it. I don't think SoundCloud. I don't know. SoundCloud for me hasn't been working very well. I mean, Bandcamp is, for personally, I find Bandcamp to be the better of any independent sound production place. You know, that's really worked for me. I'm not sure about SoundCloud. Gas plates for biscuits, yeah. Yeah, he carries them around. No, you're very welcome to say hello. I won't remember who you are, because that's the other thing, is you'll say hello. I'm like Gavin or something, but my name's I don't know, Pooey Five Lumps in the chat. I won't remember either. I have a terrible memory, both for faces and for names, for most other things. So do introduce yourself and tell me who you are, and that'll be fine. And I'm so good now at going, oh yeah, that you won't notice whether I'm lying or completely genuine. But it won't matter. I'll be well pleased to be to say hello to anyway. So, you know, I'll be chuffed to speak to anybody. Don't worry about that. Yeah, Bandcamp, definitely. SoundCloud seemed to disappear for years, and it's sort of back, and then it sort of goes again, then it's back. I don't know. I mean, I've got really old stuff on SoundCloud. You can go and check me out. You'll find some of my really ancient stuff on there. What am I going to do? I'm going to do a thing. Yeah, do a thing. So why don't I swap this? How about swap this into the overhead? Is that the one? Yeah, all right. Well, let me see if I can plug something in. I'll leave the mic on for the minute, just so you can hear me struggling. So I'll talk as I go. So what should I do? Well, I just plugged this in, the ASQ1, into here, and this is hilarious. It generates kind of unexpectedly musical things. So let me do that. Let me use the Pony VCO, because that was a lot of fun. Am I going to put it through anything? What should I do with it? Oh, I wanted to do something. I was thinking about this. I was going to, yeah. So, well, let's start with something. So I'll do that in there. Go into voltage octave. I think I've got it working here. So I was going to do. That one's going to push a little bit. start. 4 notes, yeah. All about the 4 notes these days. There's a cable. Who's that? What's that cable to? Oh, I know what I can do with that in a minute. There was something I was trying to do here. What was it? Oh yeah, I remember now. I have no idea how to change that. That'll do, I think. Look, good Lord, it's nearly midnight, so I'll leave it at that. Thanks ever so much, everyone, for coming along, for joining in. I'll see you on Saturday. See you on Saturday, some point during the day. Come and say hello. Great to see you all. Thanks ever so much. And, go and make some tunes.